Hey, what does that red thing over there that says rec mean? R-E-C? What does that refer to?
It's unclear.
Okay.
Probably like a rec room.
Oh, I want one of those. I like those. I've always wanted a room that I can just wreck.
Yeah.
That's what that means, right?
Yep.
Okay, probably. I mean, it couldn't stand for something else, possibly like record or whatnot. That'd be silly.
Absolutely not. Who would record this?
Right? Could you imagine if these went out on the internet and people were listening to them?
No.
That would be horrifying. Oh, hey, I didn't see you come in. Welcome to Crimson Spires Part 4. Whoa, we just got off the train kerfuffle last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody was worshiping the train now. That was pretty cool.
I mean, to be fair, I think we are all participants in trains culture here.
Yeah.
Before the workday is over, I need to follow up on one more lead. Freedom's Dawn. Sarah thought they might have been connected to the Bataille Repatriation Society. Whether Jessica and Gary repatriated or not, I need to look into how Freedom's Dawn might be connected to their disappearance. Up until now, I've avoided members of Freedom's Dawn at any cost. After the police uprising, they were the only ones who objected to making me as Bataille's sheriff. It didn't matter to the Freedom's Dawn that I was the only qualified person left. I was an outsider. Worse, I was a Fed. I mean, but when they got a point, they got a point. Fortunately, they were as happy to stay out of my way as I was to stay out of theirs. In some ways, they were the only ones somewhat happy about the contingency. Maybe because they thought it proved them right. Whatever their reasons, I know I finally have to talk to them. If they know something about Jessica, I have to find out. So I approach the doorstep of their leader, Thomas Wagner. Thomas Wagner. I knock as soon as he opens the door, he shoots me a withering look.
Agent Wright, what are you doing here?
I am sure you've heard that Jessica Murdoch is missing.
Yes, and her boyfriend. What does that have to do with me?
Supposedly, she was involved with something called the Bataille Repatriation Society.
Still don't see why you're at my doorstep.
I want to know if Freedom's Dawn is also involved.
So you're finally coming for me and my brothers.
Okay, so you're jumping several steps ahead in this conversation here. I have not said anything like that. I'm here looking for clues about 2 missing teenagers. Jessica's friend Sarah thought you might have something to do with the Bataille Repatriation Society.
Well, Sarah should keep her mouth shut. I thought those kids got out of Bataille anyway.
You can't possibly believe they made it past the towers.
I don't know what I believe anymore. What I can tell you is I had nothing to do with whatever happened to them, so if you're trying to wrap this around as a reason to cause trouble for me and my brothers, we ain't gonna make it easy for you here in Bataille.
I'm not going after you or your brothers, Thomas.
Please call me Tip.
I will, but... What?
Yeah?
Okay. Sure. All right, Tip.
Thank you.
For some reason, that puts me over the edge. I was trying to be nice, but that just can't last. So, Tip, what are you and Freedom's Dawn even about anymore?
Huh?
What do survivalists do after the world ends?
We are not survivalists, Agent Wright. We are a local group that protects the interests of our community.
From what? Nothing outside Bataille can even reach us. What was your group's single issue? Taxes? The IRS isn't coming. Guns? You have what's here in the city, but no more coming or being taken by anyone. Chemtrails? Even planes don't fly over Bataille anymore. So what are you so worried about?
We're worried about you, Agent Wright. Your illegal and unprecedented takeover of local law enforcement.
Ooh. Another one of worst person you know makes a great point. Local law enforcement went and blew themselves up like idiots. The stare tells me that maybe I've gone too far. Look, if there ever was a way for me to leave Bataille and leave you alone forever, I'd do it in a heartbeat. You have no reason to be scared of me.
We're not scared of you, Agent Wright. We know what we can do about you if we have to. And you wanted to know what we still do. We prepare for what's next. You think those towers going to protect us forever?
Protect? That's... Okay, so finally we're getting to someone who sees it as protection from the outside rather than a cage keeping people in.
Yep.
That's the one kind of like other view of this we haven't really seen yet. And I guess that's Wagner's or Tip. I guess that's Tip's angle on the whole thing.
One day they'll go dark or they'll go down and we'll have to be ready for what's on the other side.
What do you think that is?
The feds? Your people? What else would require this level of protection?
I disagree that the towers are protecting us, but,
You have no idea what you're talking about. The last 20 years, you monsters have been waging a war against Bataille and all sorts of towns like it.
Oh, okay.
Now your people can't touch us, can't turn us into whatever it is you think we're supposed to be. And I bet they're furious.
I won't even begin to speculate on what's happening outside the towers, but I doubt anyone in Washington is particularly angry they can't meddle with Bataille, Missouri right now.
Seems I know our government better than you do. Not surprising.
This isn't going anywhere. Let me just ask you point blank, do you know anything about the Bataille Repatriation Society?
No. Now will you leave me alone?
With pleasure. I can't even be angry at him because he's right about the one thing. And it turns out that's a very important one thing he's right about. So when do we meet the twink apes? I'm led to believe that is a standard in the genre. After I talk to Wagner, it's time to meet up with... I'm assuming it's Wagner, not Wagner. Mm-hmm. It's time to meet up for Liam. It's time to meet up for Liam at the mystery spot he described. Is that a drive-in theater?
Looks like it.
God, when's the last... Have you ever been to it? When's the last time you went? Because I'm sure you were. You grew up on the tail end of them like I did.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the late 90s, I went to one when we were vacationing in Cape Cod.
I think that I saw... Was there Transformers 2?
There must have been. There are like a billion of them.
I saw either Transformers or Transformers 2 at a drive-in theater, or at least I think it was a Transformers movie in high school was the last time.
Okay.
One of my friends dragged me out to go see Transformers, a music I was totally a movie I was totally uninterested in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine there are many in business now. Like I'm sure there are still some. Like,
I would have felt like it would have been a great business model during COVID.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that like that would have been a perfect business model. Anyway, the mystery spot he described. Whenever I walked by this area in the past, it looked like a dump. I didn't give it a second thought. Now a spark of life has returned to the place. Cheerful lights form a ring around the field. A young man attends the concession stand. The smell of popcorn brushes my nose. So, do you want to take up Erica again for the scene if it's going to be between... Okay. So, what do you think?
I'm confused. Was this a drive-in theater?
It is a drive-in theater. Ready to put on a show for your viewing pleasure. Well, this is much better than I assumed it was going to be.
Yeah. But I've never seen it in business before.
It went out of business a while back, but still has some life in it.
Life provided by Bataille money?
Well, what's money for if not having fun?
It's for food, shelter, and, well, who the hell knows anymore? Before long, the US dollar will be meaningless to anyone in Bataille.
That's the spirit. Now let's get some popcorn.
I follow Liam to the stand to get some popcorn. I find myself stuffing my mouth with it, then realize I haven't eaten since noon. Liam leads us to a single truck parked in the middle of the field. Is this your truck?
Well, sort of. I asked Gary Lewis to let me borrow it. Can't enjoy driving a movie without a good drive right?
Yeah, that is what they say.
Can't enjoy a good driving movie without a good vehicle to lounge on.
I see blankets and pillows inside the back of the truck. It looks so clean, like a money machine. As I climb inside with Liam, however, I find myself blushing. It feels strangely like I'm getting in a bed with him.
Oh, money machine. Just don't think about two trucks, all right? Just we
my
got
muscles. It's involuntary. Is this setup normal for a drive-in?
I don't know. Maybe not. I just wanted to be comfortable.
I try my best to get comfortable, despite the unexpected sensation of intimacy. Then I resume eating my popcorn as if it gives me a shield. Do you want some popcorn?
Oh, I'm all right. Thanks, though.
He leans out of the truck and waves at someone. The large screen of the drive-in flickers to life. So, what are we watching?
Lost Boys. You ever seen it?
No, but I've heard of it. Isn't it about vampires or something?
Yep. Is that okay with you?
I shrug. Fantasy is nice sometimes. It helps me forget about the troubles of real life.
Fantasy, right. Although ever since the contingency, it's hard to tell the difference sometimes.
Hey, I'm trying to get in the mood for this, all right?
Oh, right. Sorry, shutting up now.
It's tough. I have to gear myself up for vampire movies because I'm afraid of Dracula's.
Okay, so there's so much going on in that one sentence there.
We both settle in as the movie starts up.
Renfield, is that it?
What?
Is that the name of the fucker?
What?
From Dracula. God. Is that his name? Hold on. I'm going to look this up. If I don't look this up, it's going to bother the fuck out of me. Yeah. Dracula. Yep. Plot. What's the plot? Yes, it's Renfield. I was right.
I see.
Thank you to everyone in the comment section who pointed that out to me last episode and who I definitely heard before setting in for this recording. Sorry.
I already read it. Before long, the movie captivates me. I didn't really expect that to happen. After all, it's a silly movie about vampires.
Blah.
And yet
Blah.
I'm completely sucked in.
Blah. Sorry, it's a habit.
Every once in a while, Liam tries to make conversation, but I shush him quickly.
So, how about them vampires? Yay or
I don't
nay?
like to talk during a movie.
Okay.
When it's over, I lean back against the truck and contemplate the film.
So, what'd you think about it?
I really enjoyed it, up until the ending.
I know, right? The ending is terrible. All the vampires mindlessly getting slaughtered? That's just depressing. Like, they couldn't have all made peace somehow?
I don't know about that. How can predators make peace with their prey? That's not how the world works. The ending was bad because it was very, very cheesy.
Okay, that too. But ending aside, it's a pretty fun movie, isn't it?
To my own surprise, I find myself nodding.
Maybe we could sit down and watch a documentary series sometime called Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes, that was fun. For just a little while, I forgot about the towers, about Jessica and Gary, about that letter. As I recall what I managed to forget, anxiety creeps back into my stomach like icy water. Sensing my predicament, Liam interrupts.
I've probably seen that movie a dozen times, and I still love it.
A dozen times? Really?
Well, I don't have many options around here. Okay, fair enough.
I don't think I've seen any movie a dozen times. I admit I enjoyed it, but it helped a lot that those lost boys were easy on the eyes. I wasn't a fan of the ghoulish makeup used whenever they transformed into vampires.
Yeah, not the best look. But it's fitting, you know? They get overcome with bloodlust and start killing people. That shouldn't be pretty.
His gaze wanders, and now he's the one who seems distracted by an unpleasant thought.
So I wonder if Liam is the one then who definitely, you know, he's got the teeth. He's obviously a vampire, right?
Mhm.
But I wonder if maybe his angle on it is that he's kind of made peace with that and found a way to live without. But then again, it's weird because like pretty much every other love interest in this game is compromised in some way.
Yeah.
So what's his angle then?
Yeah. But we also, I think we got his worldview, right? Where the movie ends and he's like, yeah, couldn't they make peace?
Yep.
So I wonder if that's some of it.
Yeah, okay.
So why do you love the movie so much?
I don't know. I just guess I relate to Michael.
The main character? I suppose the transformation from human to vampire is a good coming-of-age metaphor.
Right, exactly. A transformation like that is, confusing. I also love how little brother keeps fighting for Michael, even when he realizes Michael is a vampire. Relationship like that is what should have saved Michael in the end, not a dumb death sequence of the lead vampire getting crushed by a car.
I think you're interpreting the film a bit too literally.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's a silly movie. Totally unrealistic. I mean, those vampires can fly. Isn't that crazy? I would love to fly. If we could fly, we could get over the towers.
I stiffen. You can't fly over the towers. If that were the case, we would have seen airplanes pass through.
There probably aren't any more airplanes.
What do you mean?
I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But birds come in and out, don't they?
I don't see the point of this discussion.
I didn't realize birds were coming in and out.
Neither did I.
That's an important detail. Because they mentioned that there's no more game here. So that seems to imply that like animals don't come in or out.
Or rather, not much game. I don't think they said literally zero.
Okay. I thought the implication was that no one was coming in, or that what there was just what was there left to breed.
I don't know.
But if birds are coming in and out, that's interesting. I mean, is Bataille even underneath like a usual flight path anyway? It's the middle of the country. Sure.
I mean, for people to be remarking on not,
then it must be, right?
It seems like it must be the case they're sometimes around.
Okay, we can't fly, so there's no point discussing that. But it still makes me wonder. We'll ever find a way out of here if we don't consider every possibility, right?
Stop. This is not something you get to test because you're curious. Everyone who tries to leave dies.
Well, everyone who tries to walk out dies, but
There is nothing else to discuss. All he did was try to look at the sensor. All he did was try to examine it, and my heart races. Sweat prickles across my brow. His head was just gone. It was gone. 1 minute, he was working with me, smiling at me, and then, I'm not sure what's happening to me. I feel as if I'm back there on the night of the contingency, watching Jones approach the tower.
Erica, I'm sorry.
There is no sorry. There is no regret. It's not a matter of trial and error. You try to leave and you die. It's as simple as that.
I'm really sorry I brought it up.
Sheriff Miller thought he could leave. He thought he could blow up the tower. He convinced all the other police officers to help him.
I was going to say, if it was a kill plane thing, then maybe you could make a case for trying to climb up the tower sticking to one side, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It's you get near it and you get yoked. That's...
I tried to stop them. I tried to talk them out of it, but then they all died too. Tears run down my cheeks. I can't stop them. The grief washes over me in an unstoppable wave.
It wasn't your fault. You did everything that you could.
But people still don't understand. People still try to leave, and then I find their headless corpses at the perimeter. Do you ever look at the town sign near the edge of town? The one that lists our population?
Not really, no.
Well, I do. I update that population number when people in this town die. The population used to be 729. Now it's 656. That's because people still try to leave.
That's a really sharp decrease, actually.
He stays silent, and I'm glad. I don't want to argue about this. I don't want him to tell me everything's all right. I want him to accept the truth as I have. He leans toward me, his eyes gentle, querying. He seems to silently ask whether I want a hug.
Do we want a hug? Liam hugs seem
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, if it had been literally any other of the characters in this game so far, I would have been like, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. But Liam, I think the difference is Liam has taken pains to not come across as an asshole. Like, clearly he has his own opinions and we don't agree on everything, but he also clearly isn't trying to be an ass, right? Unlike someone else we know.
There's no use trying to hold back now. I'm already weeping, and I don't want to talk about it. I lean against him and let his arms wrap around me. I don't like to feel this pain. That's why it's called pain. It hurts, and it's agony. And yet there's something good about letting it out, or at least sharing it with another person.
CG! We don't have our star in the CG. Finally, we are free of the star.
Liam had to remove it before the hug so he didn't get poked.
Ow. I'd get closer, but I can't with the... Ow. Ow. It really doesn't come off?
The longer I lean against him, clutching his shirt, the more I feel as if my pain drains away, leaving me lighter in its absence. I lose track of how long I sit there holding him, but eventually my tears stop. I realize his shirt is wet and cold where I cried on it. I also notice that Liam's body is very stiff against mine. At first, he cradled me while I cried. Now, his hands are pulled back, his arms rigid. I lean back and try to wipe the sticky grief from my face. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry.
But his voice is strange, distant, and he won't meet my eyes. He stares down into the bed of the truck.
I'm glad I could give you a shoulder to cry on, at least.
This isn't like me. I'm not the sort of person who... cries.
Everyone cries. It's not something to be ashamed of. And do you at least feel better now?
Yes, a little bit.
Good. Then especially don't be sorry.
I still can't shake the feeling that I made him uncomfortable somehow. Are you all right?
I'm fine. Totally just got a cramp in my foot, that's all. Don't worry. I won't do anything stupid. I want to understand the towers, but only because I want to keep this town safe, like you do. Besides, I like it here in Bataille. My family's here, the mansion, my books, all my tools are here, and so are you.
Tools?
Who was that? Did you just... Oh, was that camper always here? I'm in no hurry to leave any of that behind.
The warmth of his voice surprises me. It's hard to imagine that anyone would be content to stay here. I check my pocket watch. Shit, this took too long. I'm supposed to meet Maddie back at the precinct.
Oh, you need a ride?
No, I'm used to walking these days.
Seems like you're in a hurry.
I'll be fine. Anyway, this was nice. I enjoyed the movie. But now I have to get back to work. I start to walk away.
Erica, don't work too hard, okay? If you ever want to take a break.
I glance back long enough to give him a parting wave. I know who to call.
Ghostbusters? Now that's a real fantasy. I like that this channel's been going on long enough where we start having our other jokes from different series just randomly show up in the one. God, there's going to be a whole continuity at some point, isn't there?
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
80% extended universe.
Oh, you said it and now I hate it. Nope, that sucks. Nope, none of that.
20% is not extended.
God. When I reach the precinct, I find that most of the lights are turned off. I don't see Maddie anywhere. Wonder whether she left me a note, so I turn the light back on. Then jump with surprise and reach for my gun because someone is sitting at my desk. August! His face is flushed, his eyes glazed over. I have a half-empty bottle of bourbon sits on the desk next to him.
Why, hello there, Sheriff Wright.
What are you doing here, August?
Contemplating the complexities of the universe, or perhaps the lack thereof.
You're drunk.
Not drunk enough.
He takes another swig from the bottle. Belatedly, I see a large sledgehammer on the floor next to him. I reach for my gun again. What the hell is that?
I tried to break the ceiling.
What the... August!
Yes. Oh, give me a fucking break. You work every day in this miracle of nature, and you ignore it.
Is he talking about how the rest of the floors of the building are, like, inaccessible and impenetrable?
Yep.
Oh, okay, that's what he means. Okay, yeah, okay, no, never mind. It's still...
Before the contingency, people say this was a simple one-story building with a handful of rooms. Now it looks like a skyscraper from the outside, but on the inside it looks like it always did before. And no one can get to the upper floors.
I know all of this.
Then why doesn't it drive you crazy?
I mean, to be fair, I do think we did kind of lose that one bit of Eldritch architecture horror in the rest of this, right? Yeah, that is weird that we don't know what's going on up there.
Sherika, aren't you tired of being nice? Don't you just want to go ape shit?
I would if it was anyone but you saying it. Anyone but you. There's an edge to his voice that sends a chill down my spine. I keep my hand on my gun while I'm stepping away from him.
All these days I spent locked in that cell, I wondered what would happen if someone tried to break through the ceiling. Why didn't you ever try, Erica?
People used ladders to reach the windows on the second floor, then tried to break them. It didn't work. They were impenetrable, and no one could see through the glass. I glance up at the ceiling. I assumed your attempt was equally futile?
I didn't even shake off a speck of dust, but I had to try. Why didn't you try, Erica?
Might be like the towers. Even if you found the threshold, it might kill you once you cross.
So you're afraid. The strong, stern sheriff who reaches for her gun at every opportunity is too afraid to take a step into the dark.
He keeps moving towards me. I cock my gun and aim it straight at him. Not Another step, August. He grins at me. Then takes another step. I aim for the ceiling and fire. That's maybe not the best idea if it's impenetrable, because then it's just going to ricochet. The next few seconds are a blur. I know I only pulled the trigger once, but I seem to hear multiple gunshots, one after the other. Based on the sounds of shattering, I must have broken quite a few items with my frantic stunt. When it's over, the fierce noise echoes in my head with an intensity that leaves me dizzy. And then I hear August laughing.
Nice try, Sheriff. A noble effort indeed.
I follow his gaze around the office. I know I aimed at the ceiling, but it seems the bullet I fired struck everywhere except the ceiling. If it's impenetrable, of course it's going to do that. God damn it, Erica. It ricocheted.
Such powerful deduction, too. What an amazing sheriff.
That's it. I'm putting you back in your cell.
Go ahead. That's probably why I came here anyway. I probably wanted you to.
My stomach clenches into a fist. You wanted me to?
I'm trying so hard to be a good boy, but I was feeling rather naughty.
Be straight with me, August. What are you saying?
You know what I'm saying.
He heaves a sigh and returns to the bottle of bourbon.
Put me up for the night. I'll just ask Charlotte to get me out in the morning.
I recall that when I saw him last, he went looking for Charlotte. Did you talk to Charlotte after the train incident?
Talk to her? Oh, yes, I talked to her. And a few other things, too.
Oh, so I guess the two of you are... He laughs harder.
Erica, you're blushing. Oh, it's so adorable. Such a lovely shade of pink. No, I'm not sleeping with Charlotte. Not yet. And I'm not sure I want it to go that far. Her standards are quite low, you know. I'm quite sure she fucks her own brother.
What? This took a... What? Liam?
No, Julian.
Is that what's bothering you right now?
Everything about Charlotte bothers me, and it should bother you, too. She's got this entire town wrapped around her pinky finger like a strand of her beautiful hair. I think she might even be responsible for... She bothers me, Erica. She bothers me very much.
A long, uncomfortable silence follow his words. Eventually...
Are you going to lock me up or not? Jail party!
Jail... You really want... Is that what's best? Is that what's best for him right now?
I don't know.
He's drunk, and he has a weapon. Then again, if we went around arresting everyone that was drunk and had a weapon... Then again, I also think he's frightened of something.
He's afraid of Charlotte.
Is he afraid that he's about to die?
Maybe.
He had a conversation with Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
And something in that conversation struck him so hard that he got drunk and started wondering about the fucking impenetrable architecture suddenly around town.
And is now demanding to be locked up somewhere safe.
Yes. Or at least somewhere where there is only somewhere where if he dies, that limits the number of suspects.
Yep.
What do you think? Should we play along?
On the other hand, he's such a tsundere that I bet this whole please lock me up thing isn't actually what he wants.
Yeah,
This is tough.
I'd say let's go with probably the if our reasoning is correct and he has reason to fear for his safety now, let's lock him up.
Okay.
If walk into that cell, do it now.
Did that say August like that?
It did. It did.
Or what?
This fucker.
I could put up a fight. We could wrestle a little while. Might be fun.
Or I could skip the wrestling and shoot you in the leg.
Oof. Roblox oof sound.
Oof.
I do believe that you would.
Oof.
Don't worry, I was only kidding. Just having a little laugh.
I'm counting to 0. 3, 2...
I'm going.
He skips his way to the cell, and I follow closely behind. As soon as he's inside, I shut the door and lock it.
Fuck, I don't really want to be in here again.
No reason to worry, right? Charlotte will just let you out later.
But I don't want to talk to Charlotte. Please, Erica, I didn't mean it. I don't want to stay in here.
It's too late. You're acting an awful lot like the Heartbreaker right now.
Don't call me that fucking name.
And you dig the hole deeper.
Erica, have I ever told you how beautiful you are? You're like a budding perennial in the fresh morning dew.
I swear to God, August, if you don't shut up right now, I will never let you out of here again. If you stay quiet, I might at least consider releasing you tomorrow. Sulking, August drags his feet to the cot and collapses on it. I heave a weary sigh and make my way out. It has been a very long day, but it's not over yet. Maddie really wanted to talk about something, and now it's bothering me. I should check on her. Have we made a commitment as to what route we want to do yet?
I don't think we officially have.
Because we might want to start picking our options more carefully if we're trying to angle for one particular route.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the kind of thing where it'll decide it based on like what your affinity is, or if it'll give you, or like on getting to affinity X with someone will unlock a choice or whatever.
Maintain the perfect choices to get the secret harem ending where all 4 love interests band together to kill you.
Finally! Finally! Oh yes, sweet release! I knock on the door and I wait. I knock again. No response. That's strange. The lights are on inside and I can see her car parked in the driveway. No, I see 2 cars parked in the driveway. I hesitate. Whatever's going on in here, it's probably none of my business. Maybe Maddie's spending time with a friend, or maybe... I hear muffled voices coming from inside. They're distant but loud enough to reach my ears. I step lightly to the window, then peer inside. See 2 dark shapes further in. I'll need to move to a different window to get a better view. Erica! They're lesbians, Erica. It's fine. So I do. Creep around the house, then sidle up to the window. Oh. A careful glance inside shows me that her guest is Julian. Oh, never mind. If I lean a little closer, I can hear what they're saying. Oh, okay. Actually, maybe this is worth spying on then. Especially if what we suspect about Julian is...
Yes.
Because if we're going to catch Julian in the act of, doing his whole thrall thing, then...
Must have had something to do with it. You met with Jessica, didn't you, shortly before she disappeared?
I met with her once. What of it? She hounded me with letters about the train. I thought if I agreed to meet her in person, she would be satisfied.
So, was she satisfied?
You could say that, yes. I convinced her to leave the matter alone.
And you never saw her again?
Have you discussed any of this with Erica?
No, I didn't remember any of it until this morning.
Good. No reason to give her ideas now. In any case, it's not important. It's a small town. Of course I met with Jessica once, so why wouldn't I?
I'm just so confused. What's wrong with my memories? It's like everything's scrambled since the last time I saw you.
Yeah? Have you been using again?
No, of course not.
Oh, that's the misdirect. They want us to okay, so the misdirect is they want us to believe that Maddie... Oh, and that's... So that's what the misdirect is on the wound and bandage on her on her arm. I see. Then why did I find these in your kitchen? Yo! Gaslight, gatekeep, vamp boss. He pulls out a vial of liquid in a syringe.
No, you didn't. I don't know where you got those.
Julian seems to hesitate. You're a strong girl, Maddie. You broke the habit once, and I admire you for that. Prefer to keep your head clear. Things would be so much easier that way. Your behavior in the cabin was, sloppy.
My behavior in the cabin? What are you talking about?
Never mind. You're too honest for your own good, Madeline.
I need you to explain this, Julian. Why did I clean up that cabin? Do you know why?
Look into my eyes, Maddie. She stares at him. Do you trust me?
Not really, no.
Fine. Let me rephrase. I helped you once. Isn't that true?
Yes, I'll never forget that. You gave me a job when no one else would. If it wasn't for you.
Good, good. He moves a little closer to Maddie. He reaches up to brush some hair from her face. I know Maddie once said she wasn't attracted to Julian or interested in men in general, but now she leans toward his touch like she could melt into his arms. So now you'll help me.
I'd like to help, yes.
Yep, okay. Thrall scenario. Good. Then you'll keep working for Erica and ensure she stops looking for Jessica and Gary.
I don't know. Erica thinks the letter might be a fake. She thinks maybe...
You'll convince her otherwise. You'll find a reason for her to believe that the letter is real, won't you? I hear a note of determination return to Maddie's voice.
Only if that's the truth.
Fine. Let me see your arm.
I told you, I'm not using. I haven't since...
His fingers trail down her arm, almost like a caress at first. Her voice goes soft as he leans down to examine her inner elbow. Julian opens his mouth slightly. I see a bright flash of his sharp teeth right before. They sink into Maddie's arm. She flinches, but only for a moment. Then she sighs and leans against him, almost purring as his mouth digs into her flesh. For a moment, I feel almost as transfixed as Maddie. I can't process what I'm seeing. This isn't the behavior of two lovers. This is something else entirely. Finally, my weapon is in my hands and my muscles remember how to move. My first shot smashes the window. Then I rush through the opening, not caring whether shards of glass cut me on the way. As soon as I'm through the broken glass, I train my gun on Julian. Step away from her! Now! He has already released her. His red eyes gape wide at me. His mouth still glistens with her blood. Then I see a blur. Nothing more. Not sure how else to describe it. He moves so quickly I hear the door slam before I see him walk through it. I hear his car rev up and then the squeal of his tires as he races away. Maddie collapses on the couch, her eyes glazed over. Blood still pours from the open wound on her arm.
Can we talk about the knockoff Buffy the Vampire Slayer poster?
Yeah!
Tilly Demon Hunter.
I do love Tilly Demon Hunter!
What happened?
Julian, he bit your arm. And then I think he drank. I can't bring myself to say it aloud.
Is that you, Erica? I feel dizzy.
She acts like she's drugged. I see the vial of heroin Julian left on the table, but I know she didn't use any. Do you have any bandages?
Bandages? I don't have any.
Where's your bathroom? She points down the hall, then falls further back onto the couch.
I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I think I'll...
She falls asleep before she can finish the sentence. I find something to wrap Maddie's wound and I tend to it while she's sleeping. Remember the wound on her arm when she first came to the precinct, and I know that this isn't the first time this has happened to her. I don't know how to process any of this right now. All I know is that I've had a very long day, and I'm not going to leave Maddie here tonight. So I settle onto the couch, racing away from my own thoughts until I fall asleep next to her. Chapter 4! Sherika's pissed. I feel like we haven't gotten enough mileage out of that Sherika joke. From the testimony of Liam Bataille before the Environmental Protection Agency Committee on the Bataille Superfund site, August 1996.
So it's also a toxic waste dump?
Wow, I guess you're right. I want you to understand, Commissioner, exactly what we're dealing with in Southeast Missouri. There's this trope in fantasy and science fiction, and I know you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but please stay with me, of a long-buried ancient force. Humans dig into the ground and they dig too deep. Then they find something that should have always remained underground and they unleash it upon the world. This happens out of a combination of hubris and greed and the certainty that it is always better to keep going no matter all the signs that demand they turn back. At first, this ancient force destroys the miners, then the locals, and finally it threatens the world. We think of this as a fantasy trope, a fairy tale, a cautionary fable even, but it is very much real. My great-great-grandfather was the man who ordered his miners to dig too deep. And like all true evils, the evil he uncovered seemed benign, even useful. We called it lead, and now it's everywhere. Okay, actually, yeah, all right. Okay, you know what? Fine, Liam, you could be a little bit based as a treat. When I wake up, I feel Maddie's body warm against mine.
Best CG.
Aww! Yeah, oh, Wheel Baron. God damn it, Wheel. Thank you. Aw, best CG. I look down and see her head against my shoulder, her chest rising and falling with sleep. How long have we been in this position? It's a strange sensation for me being so physically close to another person for such a long period. I notice that some blood is seeping through the bandage on her arm. I gently try to wiggle free. Maddie stirs and her eyes flutter. She snuggles further against me.
Don't go, Carrie.
Maddie, this is Sheriff Wright. She stirs, looks up, and blinks a few times. Her face turns bright red as she scrambles away from me.
Oh, Sherika, I'm sorry.
She looks around in confusion.
I had a dream you were here, and so was Julian, and, what happened?
I'm still trying to figure that out now myself. But first we need to change her bandage and get coffee into our bloodstreams. Maddie's confused about the bandage, but she seems to agree about the coffee. About 10 minutes later, we sit back down with our coffee, but my head clears with the caffeine. I wish that it wouldn't. Maddie stares at her bandage drawn with a pale face. The vial and syringe Julian brought glisten on the table nearby.
I know how this must look, but I swear that heroin or whatever it is, it's not mine. I didn't use any.
I know you didn't. I believe you. You really don't remember anything from last night.
I remember Julian was here. He was disappointed in me, and then there was a gunshot. That's really all I can remember.
I nod and take a deep breath. I feel as if saying it aloud will make it too real, but I can't avoid it any longer. Last night I came here to talk to you, but I found you with Julian. Now, this sounds ridiculous, but I watched him bite your arm, and I think he drank your blood.
He what?
He drank your blood.
Yeah, I heard you. What the fuck? Seriously,
yeah, you and me both.
What the fuck?
She peels back the bandage and looks at the wound. Surely enough, there are 2 puncture wounds like fangs.
Shit.
I love the way... Shit. When I first met you, your arm was bandaged. You told me it hurt trimming some bushes. Was that true?
I don't know anymore. Actually, when I got that first wound on my arm, it was a situation like this. I found a syringe nearby. I didn't remember much about the night before, and I feared that I was using again.
A dark cloud passes over her face.
Julian wouldn't do that to me, would he?
So you've used heroin in the past? She jerks as if I've jabbed her.
I only used it a few times in college.
It's one of the most addictive substances known to man.
You think I don't know that?
Yeah, Erica, maybe we're not doing this, Erica. Maybe don't. The shadow on her face darkens into a storm.
I got control of myself. I put myself in rehab before Dad could. He had hospitalized me before when he found out I was gay. I wasn't about to give him a valid reason to pull that shit on me again. I got a hold of myself. I went to therapy. I actually healed in other ways while I was in rehab, but by then it was too late. The damage was done. Dad found out. He pulled my college funding, got me expelled.
I'm sorry.
It's not like it's your fault.
A long silence hangs between us.
Julian's the only one who ever ignored the shit this town said about me. He didn't care that I was gay, and he trusted me when I said I'd never use drugs again. He gave me a job when I was floundering in life with no idea what to do next. He saved me.
And then he used you. He drank your blood and brainwashed you somehow.
That's ridiculous.
Trust me, I agree. But I can't deny the facts. Seems like he compelled you to clean that cabin before I could sweep for evidence. And last night he wanted you to convince me that the letter from Jessica and Gary was real.
Oh, the letter that arrived on the train? It is real. I know that much at least.
I stare at her for a moment. Why do you think it's real?
Because the train doors were sealed before the letter was pulled out. I talked to someone about it. There was no opportunity for anyone to plant anything.
I keep staring at her. She sounds fully convinced of this fact. Who did you talk to?
I don't remember right now. I think I took notes. I'll show you later.
Maddie, you didn't talk to anyone about the sealed doors. You're making all of this up because Julian told you to.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure.
She groans and clutches her head.
Ugh, Erica, I'm really confused.
I know you are, and so am I.
What exactly are you trying to say here? That Julian's a vampire?
So real quick here. Julian got close to us once really early towards the beginning of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have we been a reliable narrator for the entire time since then?
Ooh. Ooh.
I don't know
Maybe it worked.
I don't know what that would bring us, but it's worth keeping in the back of our minds that if this is how the thrall thing works, where someone, doesn't necessarily even have to know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we didn't fall asleep or anything afterwards, but it's worth keeping in mind that if we got compromised at some point, we might not be a reliable narrator.
I'm still on team it hasn't worked yet on Erica because Julian is so dead set on having Maddie there to interfere.
Oh, exactly.
If he had direct control over Erica, which he probably tried to do on date night after the diner,
yes,
and failed again, if he had direct control, he wouldn't need to do this.
Right. I agree with you. I think that's likely what's happening right now, but it's worth keeping in mind at some point that we've now established a way for us to be an unreliable narrator. And that's vital to know. Did you read that one?
Yeah.
I forced a swallow down my throat.
What is it with you and those birds? That can't be good for you.
I'm just doing what the name says. Why won't anyone tell me why I'm confused? Can't think of a better word for it. In any case, he's a dangerous man and he's been manipulating you for his own purposes.
Then what about the rest of his family? Are they vampires too?
I remember watching the silly vampire movie with Liam. Remember him saying the movie was unrealistic because vampires could fly. I gulp again. I don't exactly know how all this works, but we should prepare for the possibility that all the Batailles are vampires. Maddie stares somberly into the couch cushions.
What are we going to do?
I should talk to Mayor Ward. If we're going to act against the Batailles, I need his help.
All right, let's go right now.
Wait a minute. Should probably stay here. You're still disoriented and
I'm pissed as hell. I'm going to help you with this whether you like it or not.
I blink at her for a few times, stunned by her tone. But I also know there's no point in arguing. Fine, change your clothes. I'll get us something to eat.
I'll be ready in 5.
Is she actually going to have a second outfit when we get back?
This is my second identical dress. I have one for each day of the week, like everyone in Bataille.
Okay. The Kaname Date school of dressing yourself. I see.
Wait, is that a thing in...
Yeah, it is. If you look through his apartment, you can find a clothing rack that has just a bunch of identical outfits on it.
That's wonderful.
He's got one look and it works for him.
Yeah.
I'm still stewing over what I will say to Mayor Ward when we reach City Hall. I don't even check in on August in the holding cell. I go right to his door and knock, figuring that I'll have the words when I need them. Was I Sheriff Wright?
You were Mayor Ward.
I was Mayor Ward.
Yeah.
Sheriff Wright, it's early. Is everything all right? No, Jeff. Everything is not okay. The town is being run by vampires. All right, so I'm gonna just recommend a couple of courses to you, some folks who might be... That isn't exactly how I pictured saying it, but what's done is done. Now, hold on a minute. Julian Bataille, probably all of them now that I think about it, he bit Maddie.
She's not lying.
Maddie extends her arm and shows Ward the wound. Sheriff, can I see you in my office? You want me to leave Maddie here? It would make things easier. You're not responding at all like I expected. Well, anything you could say to me about this, you can say in front of Maddie. She's the victim here, and she's the one who was hurt. Fine. Madeline, you may come in as well. Whoa! Could we use the door next time and not walk through the wall? No. I don't know what voice I gave him last time. This is what we're rolling with now.
Yeah, good enough.
The mayor opens his door all the way and motions for us to join him in his office.
Erica's right. Why aren't you panicking? Because you don't believe us?
Because I already know. Hold on, you know about Julian Bataille? I know about all of them. It's not what you think, though.
We think they're vampires.
Like the Godsmack song? I heard it won the Grammy for Best Instrumental Performance. Okay, it is what you think. You're going to need to explain a whole lot of things right now, Jeff. Last night I watched Julian sink his teeth into Maddie's arm and drink from her. It's a long story. We have time. I found out about a few months ago. They need blood to live. They don't need to kill. They don't even need to really hurt anyone. Look at Maddie's arm. Did you interrupt him, Julian? Of course I did. He was biting her. They have ways of healing up the wound, or so they say. I don't really know for sure, but I know we need them.
They're vampires.
Yelling that at me over and over isn't going to change the facts of the matter. You know that the Batailles control the train. They bring in food, and they bring in supplies. They're the only reason we haven't starved. The only reason we haven't descended into chaos. You kept this from me. What was I supposed to do? Burst into your office one day and tell you that we're living in a town with a family of vampires? That's what I did. So yeah. Of course that's what you did. You're not from around here, Sheriff. He lets that sit for a moment as if it explains everything. It doesn't, and I still have so many questions. So how did you discover all this? Did you stumble on them drinking from your assistant?
I'm your deputy.
That's not important right now. Liam, he needed blood. He doesn't like just taking it from people, even if they swear it's perfectly safe. We have some blood at the clinic, donations just in case of emergencies. Julian needed the key. Very long night, Sheriff. Lots of talk of what all this means. You heard all this and you didn't just stab him through the heart with a stake? Have you seen Julian Bataille? He could break me over his knee even if he wasn't a vampire. Okay, fucking fair. Yeah. Did Liam get his blood? Of course he did. And I instructed the clinic to solicit donations whenever possible. I thought it would be easier that way. Was it? Liam always has what he needs, but the other two, Charlotte and Julian, they take what they need. They promise not to hurt anyone, though. Apparently that's possible. Want to know anything else? How is that? So if that's possible, then he chose not to cover up the wound last time? Huh.
Or he got interrupted again.
So you made a deal with the Batailles. You let them feed on us, and every week they bring the supplies we need to survive? It's not that craven, Sheriff. Julian said I could expose them. He'd still keep everyone safe. Said the trains would keep coming. But do you have any idea what would happen if people found out? Torches and pitchforks. That's what happens in the book. Yeah.
That's Frankenstein.
You're right, and... Yeah, you're right, actually, aren't you? What?
The villagers don't come with torches and pitchforks for Dracula. You're thinking of...
Focus, Maddie. The point still stands, no matter where it originates in literature. I'll level with you, Sheriff. We need the Batailles. I don't know how they keep the train coming, but they do. A little blood every few days, a few wounds that heal before we even notice them. Is that too much of a price to pay? It is a lot to deal with. We're surrounded by 36 towers that will make our heads explode if we get too close. By comparison, the demands of the Batailles are a minor inconvenience. Anything else? So you admit that the Batailles control the train. What do you know about it? Every Monday it brings us enough food to feed the town. Cloth, toilet paper, light bulbs, even building supplies to help repair anything that falls apart. It's a fucking miracle. That's what I know about it. First time it came, Julian was there with the guards he employs. He distributed it fairly, never even took a cut for himself. It's been like that since the towers rose. Yes, but who is sending it? Best guess? Someone on the outside who knows we need the help. Inanimate objects can cross the tower. That much we're sure of. Someone, maybe the state or the federal government or one of the Bataille's business partners, knows that we're cut off from the world. They're sending us care packages. And the Batailles are handling it. Why aren't they sending us information? Why aren't they telling us what's happening outside?
Maybe it's worse than in here. Maybe they don't want to worry us.
That's an awful way to think about it. The point is this. The Batailles own the train. It's one of theirs. They send it back every time. If we lose the train, we lose the town. We all die. We could grow our own food. We have the land. Are you a farmer, Sheriff? No. Neither am I. So I'm not going to make the call that we can just handle food all on our own. What else do you want? I mean, I hate that he's so fucking reasonable right now because I agree with everything he's bringing up.
Yep.
But also the idea that he gets to make the call about whether or not people's autonomy gets overwritten for this.
It's such a great allegory for, like, living under late capitalism. Exactly.
I know, right?
Where it's like, dude, all the points he's making are absolutely not wrong, and yet the thing that he's justifying is really horrible.
Yeah, the thing that he's but it's all in service of justifying something horrible when there are other options. And it's like you get so monomaniacally focused on this one bad solution that's been working for a while that you can't stop and even think about, like, hey, maybe there's a different way of doing things that's better, right? We don't have to be like this. Anyway, this has been 8% Relatable explains the metaphors of late capitalism. Why is it called late capitalism? Because we're optimistic. You probably expect this question, but what exactly are vampires?
Erica, I hope you never called us here in Bataille uneducated because...
I know what vampires are in books and in movies, but this is real. What did Julian tell you about them, Jeff? All I know is that they drink blood and they don't like the sun. I didn't ask a lot of questions. How did you not ask a lot of questions? I'm not like you, Sheriff. I don't go sticking my nose into everyone's business. I'm a very private family. I didn't want to cause a stir. Did you ask for proof? How did they prove they were vampires? They needed blood to drink. That's all the proof I need. You didn't ask him to turn into a bat? Why would I do that? You come to my office a couple days after the towers and told me you were an FBI agent. I didn't ask you to arrest someone to prove it. I already arrested someone, August Flynn. I needed a place to stash him.
Also, that's not at all the same thing.
It's not at all the same thing.
FBI agents don't usually drink blood.
We only do that on, like, Sunday mixers. Wait. Shit. I was frightened, okay? The whole thing was strange to me. I couldn't come up with words to ask all the questions I had. If I could go back in time, I would ask Julian all sorts of things, but he laid it all on me and then he left. Just accepted it and moved on. We had months of peace since then. I think I made the right choice. We'll see about that. Any other questions? No, that's it. Can't believe all of this. So what are you going to do? Tell the whole town, blow everything apart and see what happens? No. I want to expose them, but I need more information. I need to be able to control what happens next. And the train? I will take it into consideration that the town runs in supplies that the Bataille seem to provide, but I will not let that be the sole factor in my decision. Well, you're going to be my sheriff when the food starts to run out, so I suppose you'll be making your own bed. I'm not making anything. I need more information. I need to talk to others. I need perspective because this all seems crazy right now. Just send me a message before you'll blow the whole story open, would you? I'll do what I can. Interesting.
Interesting indeed. So what they told the mayor can't be the whole story, given that they're trying to cover up 2 deaths.
Exactly.
And have this whole thing with the repatriation society and so on.
Do we think the deaths are because that is what they need to feed? Because if the reports about Liam are true, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, I don't think they need to.
So it's a matter of they killed them because they were getting too close to something?
Probably with Jesse looking into the train.
All right.
And so on, getting too close to the truth of the matter, which is that it's not a miraculous thing, and there's something more sinister going on connected to the Batailles.
That makes sense. And especially since, because if what we know, if what the mayor's reporting about Liam is true, then they don't need to actually kill anyone. Because our original summation, right, was that,
human farm.
Yeah, that it's a human farm, right? And but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like they are just trying to cover up a death that, we presume they did. Bataille's only clinic is run by the only medical professional in town, Kathleen Durand, a nurse who used to work at St. Anne County Hospital. There weren't any doctor's offices or pharmacies in Bataille, so it's housed in an old veterinary office that had closed down a year before the towers rose. Also, speaking of which, we need to go check in on that guy.
Yeah?
I suppose that's what we're doing, because they supposedly sent Kathleen to go look after him. No one had gotten around to fully cleaning out the facility. Supposedly the property was still in probate, so there was a decent amount of equipment that could be salvaged. Right now, the clinic is usually staffed by either Kathleen or Nancy Schiff, a hairstylist and barber before the contingency. He's one of the only working vehicles still in town, a small school bus converted into a rickety ambulance. According to the mayor, the clinic had something worked out with the Batailles to collect blood whenever possible. As long as she's not completely compromised, I assume Kathleen will be able to give me more information. And also on the guy that we were initially worried might be taken to die. I think that's still a worry, because they've clearly demonstrated that they're willing to kill at this point.
Yeah.
And whether do we think Julian is in cahoots here? Or do we think maybe he's being... Or do we think that maybe, what's her name? Wears the pants in the family and is strong-arming?
I don't know.
I guess, do they have the balls to make one of the love interests completely a monster?
I think yes. Hey there, Sheriff. Got someone down at the station you need looked at? If it's Carl, I'm not going to run him another IV to fix his hangover.
No, actually, I'm here by the Batailles. Ooh. What do we do?
That's tough, especially given we don't know enough about Kathleen to know, could we trust her to keep something on the down low for us?
Yep.
Or is this equivalent to busting the story wide open? She'll notice if we're trying to trick her.
You think?
Is going to be the... Yeah, absolutely. But...
That's the thing, is like, is there a way we could pump her for information and try to feel it out without outright lying to her and burning that bridge, you know? That's what I would hope for, is like some way to be like, okay, just feel it out, see if we can work it out without. I bet since Liam still has to come to get blood packs, she probably knows or suspects. So I bet if we tell her the truth. I bet if we tell her the truth that she's gonna be like, yeah, that checks out.
Yup, because she would have to know about Liam. Okay.
I need to know why you collect so much blood from people in town.
What? Oh, it's not that much. A healthy blood supply is critical, especially when there are so few potential donors.
There also isn't much need for blood. How many transfusions have you actually given over the last 6 months?
Well, Julian Bataille insists that it's important in case of a serious emergency, and no one gets hurt. He gave me money to pass along to volunteers, just extra pocket change.
Isn't that all a little strange?
I know it sounds strange to me, though I wouldn't mind being able to buy a bit more soda at the dollar store. I'm sorry, Madeline, but you know we wouldn't be able to take your blood.
I mean... Yeah. Yep,
Vampires can't drink gay blood or else it turns them gay.
Take it, leaders, take it.
Usually it has no effect.
No.
Judging by vampire fiction, they're already that way, usually. We have a rare straight one, though.
Is that the
endangered species?
Wait, which one is the straight one? Oh, okay.
Really? Julian liked it just fine.
The room falls quiet.
You're not making any sense right now, Madeline.
Why do they sound the same?
I ran out of voices.
You really don't know what the Batailles do with the blood?
Well, I assume they just dispose of it safely. I don't know how to deal with biological waste.
I see.
We're not to keep any refrigerated past 30 days. They just come by and pick up the old blood whenever it's time to get rid of it. The old blood
is a convenient cover story. What about blood?
The old blood.
Oh my god.
What's that smell? It's blood.
It's blood. It's blood. To be clear, you've gotten rid of almost all the blood you collect since there aren't many surgeries.
I suppose that's true, but we need to be ready.
Decide to give her the benefit of the doubt and stop pushing. Most likely she knows something is off about the Bataille's demand for a stocked blood bank, but like the mayor, she is stuck in the unenviable position of needing them. The train doesn't just bring food and general goods, but medical supplies and drugs. That though, she wouldn't be able to help anyone seriously injured in town. Oh, we didn't tell her the truth. Weird. Okay.
Maybe
I'm still fine with how this conversation went, though, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for your help. I'll let you know if we need anything else.
That's it?
We got what we came for. Ride or die. Fist bump.
Fist bump.
Alright, how many working game consoles do you think there are in the entirety of Bataille right now? 13 Xboxes. Right, no, the original Xboxes. I don't care what year it is.
I thought the originals had Red Ring of Death, or was that
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Was that the sequel?
I don't remember what... I've never owned an Xbox. I have never been compelled to buy an Xbox. I did eventually get to a point where I'm like, there are enough PlayStation games I want to play that I got one. But yeah, I've never been compelled to buy an Xbox. For a time, I feel defeated. Why didn't we ask about the...
Ask about the what?
The one guy that we let Julian take away from the protest that was injured.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what was bothering me, is that we still haven't asked about that. For a time, I feel defeated. What can Maddie and I do alone against a family of rich vampires? Wish I could understand more about the Bataille physiology, but how can I learn more about the nature of vampires? Eventually, I come up with 3 possible sources. In the Reed's old cabin, I remember seeing a book about vampires. Meanwhile, I wonder if a group of survivalists, Freedom's Dawn, has any existing conspiracy theories about the issue. Where should I go next? I think the book in the cabin, we already know that for sure. I don't know what talking to Wagner is going to give us.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah?
Yeah, because...
You want to talk to Wagner?
Specifically because I don't know. What if they've been suspicious of the Batailles for their own reasons for quite some time and just kept it to themselves, because why would they talk to the Fed?
Right. Okay.
And now that they're like, wait.
So you think they'll talk now? No,
absolutely not. Tip will not say shit, but he might let something slip.
All right. Let's go.
So, why are we going to the tipster's house? I thought you said that Freedom's Dawn was a dead end.
Wait, hold up. People call him the tipster?
Yeah, Tipperary?
Since
Tippy?
Since when? I don't know. Maybe I just want to rile him up again now that I have backup.
I'm not sure how much backup I can be against him.
The truth is that Wagner's the biggest conspiracy theorist in town. There have been even rumors about vampires in Bataille. I bet he's heard of them. I bet he probably even has a big corkboard covered in red string and photographs he tried to print out from an old dot matrix printer.
This all sounds very specific.
I dealt with guys like Tip Wagner all the time at the FBI. Back when they were all bark and no bite.
And now?
They have all the guns. They wanted to overthrow the mayor. The only thing standing in their way would be, ironically, the Bataille family guards.
I've known most of these guys all my life. I bet they're still all bark.
Let's hope so. I knock and hear footsteps. Wagner looks outside his window, scowls, and storms to the door.
I thought I told you to go away.
I did, and now I'm back.
And Maddie Gray, I guess I'm not so surprised you fell in with the special agent here. Oh, and why is that? I think you know why.
This is another social visit, Mr. Wagner. Nothing more. Unless you keep pushing to make it more.
Any day, Agent. In fact, I look forward to it.
Good thing my priority right now is finding Jessica Murdoch. Once again, I think you might be able to help.
What is this time?
It's about the Batailles.
Oh, come on now. It's been how long and you're already grasping at straws?
I know you have eyes and ears all around the city. I want to know about certain actions they may have taken against the citizens of Bataille. I'm especially interested in the late-night activities of Julian and Charlotte Bataille, as well as Liam Bataille's transactions with the clinic.
What the fuck are you even talking about? You really haven't heard anything about any of this from any of your little group. My little group? Honey, let me tell you something. When those towers go down and the feds roll up, my brothers in the Bataille family are going to be your only line of defense. Defense against what? Whatever the fuck they have planned, whatever the tower's keeping out. You know it must be something scary. The Batailles are vampires. So, now you're buying into that socialist nonsense too. Those people took care of this town for more than a century till NAFTA and the feds. They're literal vampires.
She holds out her arm and points at the bandage.
Julian Bataille bit me last night.
Wagner's eyes go wide, and then he looks at me and talks as if Maddie isn't even there.
Looks like the girl's got herself into trouble again. Think maybe she could use a few nights in the drunk tank away from all the vices and temptations of this world.
I have to restrain Maddie as she makes a move to punch him straight in the jaw. I hold her back and give her a firm look, and then I turn my attention to Wagner. She's not on drugs, and she's not crazy. We really haven't picked up on any of this.
Are you shitting me?
Christ, you're the worst survivalist ever. Maddie's anger breaks and she lets out a light chuckle. I decided it's the best note to leave this meeting on. Get in touch once you start to see the real threat to this town. I'm surprised too.
This is interesting. So, I wonder if the Batailles have some control over Freedom's Dawn as well. Given that Wagner here is like, oh yeah, us and the Bataille guards are the only things keeping you safe. And it's like...
Weird that they're falling in line with each other.
Yeah, sure is interesting that the survivalist conspiracy theorist group who sees and knows everything that goes on in town, has all the guns, is paranoid about all this horrible stuff happening.
Yeah.
Hasn't seen shit about the dudes going around at night biting people.
Yeah, that is strange. Suddenly, my walkie-talkie buzzes to life.
Sheriff Wright, please come in.
This is Sherika. Who is this?
This is Fred, the postman. I'm at the school. Oh my god.
Fred? Why are you using Principal Vincent's walkie-talkie? What's going on?
Oh god, you need to come here right away.
Just spit it out.
There's a body.
A body? Someone has been murdered? Is it Jessica Gary?
No, I think it's Principal Vincent.
Not Princent. I nearly dropped the walkie-talkie. Jesus Christ, what happened?
There's blood everywhere. Symbols drawn on the ground. Her chest is cut open and, please come now, Sheriff.
My head spins. That sounds like the work of the Heartbreaker Killer, but that should be impossible.
So this is probably exactly what you predicted.
Yeah. Where now that they know what the Heartbreaker is like, they're gonna spin stuff in a foreign language, and it's gonna be one that August doesn't know.
Yep, but also he's in jail, unless Charlotte swung by to let him out first, just for plausible deniability.
Oh, yeah, and then that's why he was trying to get into the cell that night. August is sitting in his jail at City Hall. There's no way he could have gotten out unless. Hold on, Fred. Where's the body?
It's in the gymnasium, right in the middle of the basketball court.
Clear everyone out. Find some bigger students to guard the doors. I'll be there as soon as possible. Just have to make sure my prisoner is still where he belongs. Maddie, you head to the school and help him out.
You don't need backup with August.
I can handle him. Huh. So, coin flip if he's going to be there or not? Or if he's there and the door's unlocked. Which I think is the most suspicious of them all.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what I hope to see when I rush into the police station. If August is missing, everything will make sense except his escape. If he's still there...
Erica, there you are. Did you avoid me this morning on purpose? I've been bored out of my mind, and...
What are you doing here?
You put me in here. I got too friendly with the bourbon, remember? But I feel much better now, so...
You can't be here.
Then feel free to let me go.
If you're here, then how...
Did something happen?
Don't act like you don't know. Terry Vincent, the principal, I know what you did.
Is Principal Vincent okay?
What? How dare you even ask that? You know the answer. You killed her. August's face goes completely blank. He rarely ever looks confused. He certainly never allows that weakness to show for more than a few seconds. Right now, though, he looks truly off guard.
You think I killed Terry Vincent?
She was found at the school. Her chest was cut open. Symbols were painted on the ground around her.
Sounds like the Heartbreaker Killer. Now, since I have been locked up in here, perhaps we can put all suspicions about me to bed.
I guess the last thing to figure out would be what time of death. Because he did come back in last night getting drunk like he had just done something he regrets, right?
Yeah.
So there's technically that I don't think it's him. I think it's too obvious. But
What if it's right that he was never the Heartbreaker Killer? And it's like Charlotte was the Heartbreaker Killer, and the reason she found it so funny and wonderful when August was here and locked up and so wanted him let out was because he was the guy that was getting all her crimes pinned on him and was like, that's perfect, let's do it again.
Yeah, that's something like that'd be good. No. You got out of here somehow. Charlotte broke you out. You have one last kill and put you back to sow confusion around all of this. She knows I'm onto her family. This is exactly the distraction she needs.
You are onto them about what?
It's not important right now. There might be a killer loose in the city and no way to get away from him.
By using the word loose, you actually admit that I may not be at fault here.
I don't know.
Have you been to the crime scene yet?
No, I need to head over there now. I just had to see if you were still here.
Might I suggest that we head over there together? Perhaps I could be a second set of eyes.
Why would I ever let you out again?
Consider this. What if this murder isn't me? What if Occam's razor proves true here, and I did not miraculously leave and re-enter my cell?
I don't know. These bars are really wide. Like, I could probably squiggle in there really easily. There's a lot of space between them.
Is there anyone else in town as familiar with the Heartbreaker murders as me? I spent the months before the contingency working on my defense. I know the cases inside and out.
Because you committed them.
All the more reason I could help you. Can you think of a better way to catch a copycat than to consult the original?
Again, worst person you know just makes a really good point. So you admit...
No, just arguing from your viewpoint.
Can't believe I'm considering this.
I can. You won't refuse a helping hand.
You make a single dangerous move and I will cut you down.
So, business as usual. Believe me, Erica, I won't do anything to jeopardize this. I am absolutely too curious about what has happened to risk dying before we can solve this murder.
Let's just go. God, you're annoying. Just in general. Ah! All right, so then what do we think is the situation here?
I think it's the thing I outlined, something along the lines of Charlotte did it.
Yep. After hearing that, so do we think that she knew and was already using August as the cover, or do we think that she heard the details from us down at the train station and is now using that to frame August?
That I don't know.
Because it could also be the case that he was,
Yeah.
but isn't this time. I entered the gymnasium to find a grisly scene. As expected, Terry is there. Her body lies in the center of the basketball court, her limbs strewn about her. Just as Fred described, there's strange symbols drawn in Principal Vincent's own blood around her body. Her chest cavity is split open, held apart by a piece of rusted iron. Her heart is missing, and no surprise to me, is pinned to the floor next to her head with a knife. I only read about the Heartbreaker murders. I never saw one of the scenes with my own eye. So we don't even know the original language they were in.
Wait. Is August a vampire hunter?
Yo! Okay.
What if August did it because he's hunting vampires, and that's why he has to do all this shit with magical rituals and staking them through the heart and separating the limbs?
Because that's the only way you can kill a vampire.
Yeah, because they aren't going to go down if you just shoot them. So you got to get the limbs off so they're not very dangerous, and then do the incantations and then stake them.
Yo, I wonder if that's it. Because that would explain the whole buildup with them and why, like, the heart needs to be removed and stabbed through. Now I'm glad. August moves towards the body, studying with a clinical gaze that seems to suggest it really is the first time he's seen it. Maybe that's just an act. Maddie follows us in and keeps her distance from the body. Suppose she should get started. All right. Let's see if there's anything else around here before we...
Perfection.
Zest Cola.
H2 Optimal.
Home of the Raiders. Renault Middle School. Excellent. Just want to make sure there's nothing like hidden goodies around here. You never know.
Like, what if Charlotte's just hiding under the bleachers and is like,
blah.
Sup? Oh.
Blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. So let's see.
Why is so?
Telos?
Yeah, Telos. Why Greek? Why Telos?
I don't know, but I bet you anything the original Heartbreaker didn't use Greek. So I can't talk to either of you yet, can I?
I love that they're 2D planes. It's great. I love it.
I think it works really well.
I do. I do as well, and I love it.
I was never on the Heartbreaker cases, but the position of Terry's body is instantly recognizable. There are only 2 noticeable injuries on her body, but they are plenty significant. First, her throat was cut. The Heartbreaker usually killed his victims before opening their chests, so that was probably the cause of death. Killer, August or otherwise, did not take pleasure in the suffering of the victims and sought to kill them as fast as possible before cutting them open. Blood from the carotid artery was collected as the victim quickly bled out. It was then used to draw the symbols on the ground. Once the victim was dead, the killer would open up their chest and break their rib cage, remove the heart, and leave the chest cavity exposed. It's the same every time. It was the same here, but maybe upon closer examination. I want to examine the symbols.
Yeah, let's examine
because
the
we agree that
symbols.
that's like the point where it's most likely to be different.
Yeah.
There's something about these symbols. I feel like I've seen them before, but not any of the Heartbreaker cases. Can't be sure that they match. They seem too hard, too square, even too familiar. When I saw the other Heartbreaker victims, I noted the symbols were entirely alien. Whatever these came from, they were not entirely unknown to me.
Because they're Greek, and the other ones were just symbols.
It's all Greek to me.
Yep.
What is the definition of telos again?
I believe telos is like a purpose, an aim.
Got it.
Like-
Got it.
I think.
Let's examine the chest wound. The hole in Terry's chest is just as expected. Everything else about the Heartbreaker victims was carefully posed, carefully curated. If this was something he couldn't be careful with. Without the right tools and strength, it's not easy to break open a rib cage. As the Heartbreaker progressed, he got better and better at it. He became more surgical. That's not what this looks like. This looks like one of his earlier victims. The ribs are shattered. The skin is torn, not cut. The lungs were severely damaged in retrieving the heart. Of course, this makes sense, doesn't it? He wouldn't have his tools in Bataille. Okay, that's actually a very good point. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Then again, when August was captured, he didn't have any surgical tools on him either. Terry's head is tilted to her left, flat against the ground. A bit of blood stains her right cheek and her eyes are wide open. Neither of those details seem right. I wish I could check with the Heartbreaker case files, but they're kept in St. Louis. I'll just have to rely upon my memory. That's all I can get from the body without an autopsy. I don't even know if that'll be possible. Kathleen Durand is a fantastic nurse, and she's kept the clinic running admirably. However, I doubt she's capable of a proper post-mortem medical examination, let alone qualified. Just hope that we won't have to find out. Can we talk to you now? Nope. I really don't want to get like up and...
Looks like we gotta look at that heart.
Terry's heart is approximately 1 foot from her head, pinned to the ground with a large butcher knife. The knife isn't very deep in the gymnasium floor. I could pull it out with ease, and I'm sure I'll get to that. But right now, I just look over the way it's presented.
Examine the knife. I bet it's not normally a rusty butcher knife.
There's nothing particularly remarkable about the knife, except where I found it. It's like a standard kitchen butcher knife. It could have been bought at any supermarket or big box store that sells tools or cooking utensils. It does not appear to be especially sharp, which would explain the difficulty the killer had in opening up Terry. I instruct Maddie to carefully retrieve it with a plastic bag to prevent contaminating any fingerprints. Instead, she hands the bag to me and makes me do it. I gingerly remove the knife and bag it for evidence. I guess that makes sense. She's like, nope, I fucked this up last time. You do this. Which,
On top of that, it's pulling a knife out of a removed heart. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna touch that.
Yeah, right.
I'm just the deputy.
Terry's heart is pinned to the ground next to her head. It is completely intact outside of the ragged edges where it was cut from the body. This doesn't seem right. The Heartbreaker nickname didn't just come from his habit of removing the hearts of his victims. He would also split them open. I wonder if he didn't have the time for his usual ritual. Perhaps I'm missing something altogether. Nothing else to be gained from staring at Terry's heart. Still can't believe I'm here, standing over her like this. It was only a few days ago. Whoever did this will pay. Will not let this madness spread across Bataille. So, it looks like they aren't even trying to hide that this is not the same killer.
They probably don't know. They probably don't know enough to know what they'd have to do to make it look perfect.
True.
Why would they?
Suppose this isn't what you had in mind when you offered to be my deputy?
You usually just deal with drunks and fights and drunken fights.
I know, and I like that a lot better.
Are you sure about that?
I don't like murders, Maddie.
It's just when you got that call, I could see something light up in your eyes. It's the same look you had when you chased Julian away from me. It's like you were back to normal.
Don't say that.
You went from the FBI to a small town. What do you even have to do in Bataille?
I have to stop idiots from trying to cross those fucking towers. That is what I have to do. Believe me, those things are worse than any murder.
But you don't investigate them. You don't try to stop them.
There's nothing to investigate. There's nothing to stop. They can't be stopped.
There it is.
What?
This is what you want. This is what excites you. This killer can be stopped. Julian could be stopped, maybe. You've been waiting for something like this.
That's not fair.
What if we did get glamored and we were glamored to believe it was impossible to leave? Because we keep insisting there's no possible way anyone or anything could get in or out.
Okay.
And all we've seen is people's heads getting exploded.
When
But,
they try to cross.
Yeah. But, like, the train's fine.
Yep.
And, like...
Apparently birds.
Yeah. Why are we so insistent that even things like letters couldn't get out in the shoebox that the group was sending and so on? Do we have reason to believe that?
I don't think we have reason to believe that stuff couldn't go out in the train. Clearly it does. They described that they send payment that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think where we're hesitant is about drawing conclusions about what we can tell from that.
Mm-hmm.
But
So what? It's true.
just tell me what you see, please.
I don't understand.
You're my deputy. You're assisting me on this case. What do you see?
I see something terrible, something unthinkable. How could someone do this to another person?
Ask August next time you get a chance.
Do you think he did this?
Of course I do. He's the heartbreaker, and this fits his modus operandi. Mostly fits.
Why did you bring him here if you think he's the killer?
I'm watching him. He says he didn't do this. That doesn't make any sense to me, but I need to be sure.
Can you tell that just by looking at him?
Maybe. Give it a try. Maddie turns her head towards August, fixing her eyes on his. August looks up and returns the gaze, giving her a calm smile. Maddie, don't stare at him!
You said to look.
Yes, I said to look, not to stare. Tell me what you saw.
He's not happy. He's trying to look happy, to look calm, but he's angry.
August isn't a man admiring his work, is he?
Not at all.
That's what worries me. And yeah, that does seem to fit with what we think about, what we're thinking here, is that this isn't his... Even if he was the original one, then this isn't him now. And I like your angle that maybe he was a vampire hunter. Because that would explain, like, if he was, why he would still want to play coy about it and not want to, would admit to that, because how do you explain vampires?
Yeah.
And he doesn't know that we know. We haven't told him yet.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say for yourself?
Absolutely nothing. I didn't do this.
You keep saying that, but you haven't offered any proof.
I can't prove a negative, Erica.
I mean, you were in the thing all night, so yeah. Okay, then at least give me your thoughts. Either you're the heartbreaker or you're just exceptionally learned in his methods, so what do you think of this?
I think this was sloppy.
I can hear the disgust in his voice. I don't know if I believe it. He's always been a good performer and a better liar. How so?
You know, you can see it yourself.
The broken ribcage is sloppy.
Her ribcage was split open, not cut. The heartbreaker only did that in his first murder. He learned how to cut through bone and brought the right tools afterward.
That's a good point. I hadn't noticed that.
Don't give me that. I can see the contempt on your face. You're angry. You can't stand that this killer is impersonating you.
Damn right I'm mad, but not because of what you say. I'm mad because this clumsy monster killed the principal. I liked Principal Vincent.
No, you didn't. You mocked and toyed with her.
Mocking her was enjoyable.
Let's just move on. The blood on her face as well, maybe?
Sure.
She has blood on her face. The killer touched her head after drawing the symbols beneath her. The heartbreaker was never that clumsy. Might be a viable fingerprint there.
I hope so. I hope I can finally be cleared of all this.
You seem awfully confident that won't be your fingerprint.
I wouldn't make a mistake like that.
Okay, but there's more. No, I brought you out to investigate for a reason. You said you know these cases better than anyone, and I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you simply reviewed the files.
You want my expert opinion?
It's the only reason you're not in a jail cell.
You left her eyes open.
What?
The Heartbreaker victims always had their eyes closed, every single one. He didn't want them to watch when he opened up their chests. Is that what you wanted here?
Yes, but how did you...
What did I tell you? I had to prepare for my own defense. Let's go over more of what we see. That's not the only thing that doesn't fit. You see the rest, don't you?
No, tell me.
Come on, Erica. This isn't the time for getting a confession from me. There's a dangerous killer on the loose, and it's not the Heartbreaker. What else did you notice?
The symbols you drew aren't right. The Heartbreaker always used rounded glyphs. Maybe it was just the pictures I saw, but they didn't look like shapes I'd ever seen before. These are familiar. I've seen these before. I just can't quite...
Ancient Greek, that's the language you're looking for. I'm sure it's familiar, but of course you can't translate
Telos.
it.
I don't know what it means, but I can read it. Fucker.
It's the word telos spelled diagonally across the floor. It means end or goal, depending on the translation.
What is the Heartbreakers trying to tell us then?
Nothing, because the Heartbreaker doesn't write in
Called
Greek.
it!
You absolutely
Called it! That was a slam dunk.
all the way from across the court.
Baron Davis, eat your heart out. What language does the Heartbreaker use?
How would I know? Moving on.
The heart is intact. It isn't split open.
Excellent observation, Sherika. The Heartbreaker doesn't just remove his victim's heart, he flays it open and then pins it to the ground.
I'm glad that you're using Sherika instead of that other insipid name you came up with. How could you do something like that, August?
Nice try.
I'm serious. How are you capable of it?
I'm not. Apparently, neither is our Bataille copycat, so how about we wrap this up?
Let's push him one more time. You have to have something else for me. I can see it in your eyes.
Fine. Think about where Principal Vincent was displayed. You can see this is a display, right? This whole scene was meant for someone to find, but who?
I don't know. It's in the middle of the school gymnasium. Any number of people could have stumbled on her.
Exactly. Now remember back to the Heartbreaker's MO. Bodies were displayed in a similar fashion, yes, but not so haphazardly.
What did we learn about how the Heartbreaker displayed their bodies?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Think of Annette Polk in Oklahoma. She was found in the living room of a man who lived alone. Richard Samuel in Arkansas. A farm during the dead of winter, over 100 miles from his home, where only one caretaker was watching the fields.
Heartbreaker doesn't just pick his victims, but also the people who find the body?
I'm surprised I'm the only one who picked that up from the files.
You picked that up because you're the Heartbreaker.
Either way, I think I have a future career in law enforcement. We're getting to my point, however.
That's a really interesting subtlety. I don't know if that ever came up, but that's a really interesting subtlety.
This isn't the Heartbreaker. You and I both know that. It also isn't me, so I can be clear.
You're not wrong.
That leaves us with a serious dilemma. I'm sure this was a lot easier when you could just lock me up, but now you know that's not going to do anything. You can shoot me right here in front of everyone and say the crime is solved, but the real killer will still be out there. And I suspect they will kill again.
Why is that?
Well, once you have a taste for it...
Can't deal with your teasing right now, August. I need to think. This killer did a bad job, but you can't deny they were trying to copy the Heartbreaker. This is too familiar. It's too close. Who would have known enough to pull this off?
I suppose this is where I turn the tables and ask if you did it.
What?
Simple process of elimination. It wasn't me, so who else knows enough about the murders to pull off something like this?
Can't believe you're pulling this now.
Calm down, Tony Pizza. I know you didn't kill Terry Vincent. I just wanted you to feel what it's like to be falsely accused.
August? No. Stop it with this.
What's up, Tone?
Don't call me. When did we agree on pet names? When did we agree on Tony Pizza?
Oh.
What does that mean?
So a different one would be to your liking.
No, August.
I'm taking suggestions.
No pet names.
However, my singular point still stands. We are the only two people in this town we know of who has the knowledge to do this. I didn't tell anyone, did you?
Yeah, we did. Fuck! My mind drifts back to a conversation with Liam Bataille. Before I knew about their family secret, I started opening up to him. Could recall mentioning the Heartbreaker case, explaining my relationship with August, and it's one of the Batailles. It's the younger one, Liam.
Oh, I thought he seemed perfectly pleasant.
I don't think it's that. I think he might have let it known to might have told Charlotte about it.
Yep.
So did I, but then I found out he was a vampire.
He's a vampire. Mark's vampire or Stoker vampire?
What?
Is he draining capital from the working class or blood from
It's the second one.
But
Why does everyone in this town assume it's the wrong one?
Point of order, but also the first, right?
Okay, you're not wrong.
I think I need to catch up, Erica.
I'll explain everything later. Right now I need to find Liam Bataille. And we will find Liam Bataille next time I like your theory about August's real, like maybe he is indeed the Heartbreaker,
Yeah.
but as a vampire slayer.
Yeah.
And
this definitely rules out my contrary theory that Charlotte was the Heartbreaker, because clearly whoever did this killing doesn't know how to do it.
right, whoever did this is it, or Charlotte wasn't the original Heartbreaker.
Yep.
Yeah, this is clearly a different person.
Yep.
Someone who heard of the method secondhand, like Liam and Charlotte overheard us at the train station.
Yep. Yep.
So, I think next time we're probably going to go back and interrogate Liam, but it's not going to be him.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.